Okay, moms, are you dreading math? Is your child just pulling out their hair, trying to get through the lesson? Are you constantly like, okay, finish, keep going. You need to do more. You need to finish. If that's you, this might be the perfect video for you. A lot of times people might think it's the curriculum fault. I don't think it's always the case. It's true, you might need to look into other curriculum. But I also think there's simple things that you can do to make the curriculum and the workbooks work for you, work for your child. Hi, I'm Jamie, and this is Simply Learning Together, where I like to share different experiences about our homeschool. I am a homeschool mom of 4. My children are 7 and under. I'm excited to talk to you today about math. We are going to talk about editing the lessons using the curriculum as a guide. This is not a curriculum review. I will be talking about the curriculum we use as well as a few points of why we like it, but I won't really be going into big detail. This is kind of a loaded video with a lot of information, so let me briefly tell you what I'm hoping to cover. That way, if you want to skip through, you can. First, I want to tell you why I choose this curriculum. The other thing I'm going to talk to you about is editing lessons so that they better fit my child. I edit every single lesson very quickly, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And then finally, I want to tell you how we combine lessons at times so that it's not overwhelming and so that it benefits my child in a way that we can move at a pace that's perfect for her. One thing I want to be sure to point out is make sure you are following your state laws. Where I am, I have a lot of freedom when it comes to choosing the curriculum and how we make it work in our homeschool. And so make sure wherever you are aware of your state laws and following those as you make decisions through your homeschool. The next thing I want to remind you of is every child is unique. There are children that are going to want to move quicker, and there are children that are going to want to move slower. Even in my own home, I've experienced this and how my children are so different and learn so different. Make sure whatever decision you make is best for your child, and you will know best, mom or dad. Make sure that you're thinking about that as you listen to these points. So let's get started. We use Horizons Math in our house. I started with Horizons Math when my oldest was in kindergarten. Horizons Math is set up as a spiral review. So you're constantly reviewing topics that you've done in the past, which I think is excellent practice. The other reason I like it is straight to the point, no fluff. To some people, it might look like a boring worksheet. There's nothing extra to it. However, I enjoy that because it allows me to be creative. I can add some sort of hands-on activity. I could simply just complete the workbook. So basically what it comes down to is flexibility. This curriculum allows me to do as little or as much extra as I want, and I really enjoy that. When my oldest daughter got into first grade, we got to a point in the year where it kind of felt like it was dragging. We were bored by it, and I realized that what was happening is we were just reviewing. There was no new material for like 20 pages. It was review, 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 which is where I had a thought to myself, if my child understands this, why am I forcing her to keep on practicing it if she hasn't mastered? Which is what led me that year to skip a huge chunk of our textbook and jump into those new topics. And it was the best thing I ever did. Suddenly she was excited about math again. She was ready to learn. She was excited to be challenged. And so that's when I realized this curriculum is just a guide. It is not a rule. It is supposed to help me help my child learn their best. Then in her second grade year, we stuck with Horizons again, and we ran into a different issue. There were so many problems. I'm talking a lot of problems. And it was overwhelming for me for grading and for pushing her to finish. And it was kind of like, trying to get her to do it and not be upset about it. It was hard. That's when I realized the same sort of thing. Why am I asking her to do all these extra problems if she knows how to do it? What's wrong with doing just a few to keep her practicing and also to keep her working? And so that's what we've done. And every day I go through her book and I take about half of the work, sometimes even more, away from the worksheet, and she does little sections at a time. And I'm going to show you how I do that right now.
Okay, so to do this, I'm going to basically think out loud what I would do in our next upcoming lessons. So for example, this right here is our next lesson. And the first thing I'm going to do is see if there's any new topic. There is one new concept, which is right here. And it's multiplication, which we've been practicing, but it's multiplying by 2 in this setup she's never done before. So I'm actually going to write the word all so that she does all of these problems and I can show her how to do them and she can try them all. This right here is half dollar. We just reviewed that yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and have her do this section. Now, when I look at this section here, this is multiplication again. And personally, we don't like doing these code thingies. I'd rather her just get the math. So I would give her the choice of whether or not she wanted to fill in the letters or not. There are some kids that might really enjoy that, or just doing the math is fine as well. Next is telling time. She is very good at telling time. I do know that there's a couple times in particular she struggles with. And so I'm going to select those specifically for her to do, and then she won't do the ones that I don't box. This one gets hard because of the way the hour hand moves, and I want her to get that extra practice. Here, she's just adding. I feel confident that she can do that, so I'll probably just box 3 for her to do, and she won't do those. Same with subtraction. I'm going to box probably just 3 of them for her to practice, and she won't do these. And then finally, write the word numbers. I know she can do this. I know she can do it well. So I might just have her do 2 to review it on this lesson. Now, if I go back and check her work and realize that she did not understand something here or here, I have all these problems that she can practice again. I'm not concerned that she's not doing enough because it's all going to come up the next day again. And that's what's great about this spiral review. Picking just 2 or 3 in a section has been working really well for us. Let's talk about combining a lesson. Sometimes it's harder to combine. It depends on the 2 lessons that are next to each other. And this one and this one would actually combine really well. So since I already selected this, I'll just show you how I might combine it with this lesson so that she would do both in the same day. The first thing I'm going to look at is we have time again. She's already done time here, so I might just pick a couple for her to do. We're practicing it here and we're practicing it here. To me, that's good. If I think there's a concern, I'll have her do more. This is even and odd. I will have her maybe just do one side of that section. Next, this we haven't done in a while, so I'll have her do a couple of these to make sure that she remembers that concept, and if she doesn't, then we will do these as well. And here, we already did that here. So in this situation, I would literally just cross it out and move on to the word problem. I always have her practice the word problem. And once again, I'm not worried because if I flip the lesson, there it is again. That's that spiral review. It's constantly practicing. And when I'm combining a lesson, there's no need for her to do 3 here and 3 here unless I feel like she needs that extra practice. So I'm making it work for her.
Okay, I want to show you one more lesson that I combined that we just did recently in hopes that just hearing my thoughts might spark some thoughts of your own, and just seeing an example might be helpful. This first section was reviewing time equivalents, and this was actually our 3rd day to do it. And I had her do all of them because the 2 days before she was struggling to remember some. So that's a situation where I would say she needs the practice. So I had her do all of them. The next section was just writing the missing number. I picked 1 box. Okay, this is counting money. We hadn't done this in a while, so I walked her through one. I think counting money can get tricky, and it's important to know. It is a life skill. So I had her do all of them. And after doing one together, quick refresher, she was able to do it. On the back of that lesson, I picked just a couple from each section. We've got adding, subtracting, and then this was multiplication. She's learning the ones and the zeros and the tens, the real quick and easy ones, and she has been doing all of them for a couple of weeks now. So I just had her do half that day since I was going to be combining a lesson. She's going to get more practice in the next days, so I'm not worried about that. Then when I look at the other lesson, let me tell you what comes to mind. The first is these half dollars. This was new in this book, so I wanted to go over with it with her. So we spent a couple minutes just looking at this together. So doing just one whole front side was no big deal. When I flipped it over, we've got time. There was only 4. I went ahead and had her do it because there was a couple of the harder ones and a couple of the easier ones. Now, you'll notice, look at the next section. Here's fill in the missing number, do the adding, 3 numbers, and then here is subtracting with borrowing. That was all on this page. There is no reason for her to do it again on this page. I'm going to combine the 2 and make it one lesson, and she'll get it again the next day. Now, the lessons don't always line up like that. Sometimes they are completely different, but I'm encouraging you to look ahead in lessons and see, are there ways that you can jumble them together? And the reason we do this is because we actually go to a community on one day a week, and so there is one day that we don't get math done. So it's helpful for us to skip ahead a lesson like that and combine them. If you've missed a day or a couple of days, this is a great way to kind of catch up. It's also just a great way to challenge your child. If it's kind of just a funk in math, maybe there's not that big of a challenge. And this would be a way that you can kind of advance ahead so that you could challenge them and help math become more enjoyable. I hope hearing these thoughts was helpful. I hope that you were able to kind of take it and think, okay, maybe I could do this for my child, but change it in this way. Remember, this is about your unique child and doing what's best for him or her. So make sure if you're skipping something, make sure that's solid. Make sure that they are really good at it, master it, and they know. If you realize that you're skipping and the concept's not there, then I would advise don't skip that section. You know your child best. You know how you're pacing through that curriculum, and that way you can make those decisions. I definitely think this is something that you could do with other subjects as well, maybe even like language arts, if your workbook is reviewing certain things. If your child understands that concept well, you could practice just a couple of pieces. So just something to think about as you are working through your programs, how you can make it work best for your family. The greatest thing about doing this was when we sit down for math, it's not this overwhelm. She knows that she's going to practice a little bit of everything, and then we're going to move on. And to take that overwhelm away, it's been wonderful. And I'm not going to lie, there are days when we need to do everything because of her skills and where she's at, and she needs the practice. But there's also times in the book where it's just review, review, review. And that's a great way for us to just kind of skip along so that she can progress at her pace.